The signal from below. The Mariana Trench had always kept its secrets well. Dr. Maya Kapper had spent her entire career trying to pry them loose, descending into the crushing darkness aboard the research vessel Poseidon more times than any other living scientist. But nothing had prepared her for what they found on that fateful dive. "We're approaching the anomaly, Dr. Kapper," Captain Reeves announced, his voice crackling through the comm system of their advanced deep-sea submersible. Through the reinforced viewport, Maya could see nothing but inky blackness, illuminated only by the vessel's powerful searchlights. Sonar indicates a perfectly geometric structure at 10,800 meters. Her assistant, Dr. Wei Chen, reported, his eyes fixed on the display. "No natural formation creates a perfect hexagon. Not at this depth. Not anywhere." Maya nodded, trying to control her racing heartbeat. After months of tracking unusual energy signatures emanating from the deepest part of the ocean, they had finally pinpointed the source. "Bring us in closer, Captain." As the Poseidon descended further, the structure began to emerge from the darkness. It wasn't just a hexagon. It was a massive facility, its surfaces covered in a material that seemed to absorb their lights rather than reflect them. Ancient, yet somehow untouched by the ravages of time and the crushing pressure of the deep. "My God," Wei whispered. "Carbon dating from the exterior samples we collected last week put this at over 35,000 years old. That's impossible." "Apparently not," Maya replied, her eyes locked on the structure as they approached what appeared to be an entrance. "Human civilization as we know it was barely starting to form 10,000 years ago. Whoever built this wasn't human," Wei finished her thought. The Poseidon's lights suddenly flickered, and the vessel shuddered. "We're experiencing some kind of electromagnetic interference," Captain Reeves reported, his usual calm demeanor showing cracks of concern. "Systems are behaving erratically." On the exterior of the structure, a line of symbols began to glow with a soft blue light. Maya felt her skin prickle with goosebumps. "Are you recording this?" Wei nodded, his fingers flying across the console. Every second, the glowing symbols pulsed, and a beam of light shot out from the structure, enveloping the submersible. Maya expected to feel fear, but instead, a strange sense of recognition washed over her. The beam penetrated the hull without damaging it, scanning each of them briefly before retreating. "What the hell was that?" Captain Reeves demanded. Before Maya could respond, a section of the structure slid open, revealing a perfectly preserved airlock. "It recognized us," she said, her voice barely above a whisper. "It's inviting us in." "That's impossible," Wei argued. "Even if this is an artificial structure, any operational systems would have failed millennia ago." Captain Reeves shook his head firmly. "We're not docking with an unknown structure at this depth. The risk is. The choice has been made for us," Maya interrupted, pointing at the console. The Poseidon's engines had activated on their own, guiding them toward the airlock. "Something else is in control now." The submersible docked with a gentle thud, and the exterior door of the airlock closed behind them. To their amazement, the water began to drain from the chamber, leaving them in a dry environment. Sensors showed breathable air outside. "This is unprecedented," Wei said, checking the readings again and again. "The atmosphere is perfect. Temperature, pressure, oxygen levels, all within optimal human parameters." "It was waiting for us," Maya said with certainty. "All these millennia, it was waiting for someone to return." Against every safety protocol, Maya insisted on being the first to exit the submersible. As the outer hatch opened, she stepped into a vast chamber that lit up at her presence. The walls were covered in the same strange symbols that had glowed outside, but here they were arranged in complex patterns. In the center of the room stood a pedestal with a crystalline object roughly the size of a human skull. "It's some kind of data storage," Wei suggested as he joined her, his scientific curiosity overcoming his caution. Maya approached the crystal, drawn to it by an inexplicable compulsion. As she reached out, her fingers hovering just above its surface, The crystal began to pulse with the same blue light they had seen outside. "I wouldn't touch that if I were you," Captain Reeves warned, hanging back near the submersible. But Maya couldn't resist. The moment her fingertips made contact with the smooth surface, her mind exploded with images and information, not forced into her consciousness, but recognized, as if she were remembering rather than learning. She saw Earth as it had been 35,000 years ago, not a primitive world of hunter-gatherers, but a planet of advanced cities and technology. She saw beings that looked human, yet somehow more, working alongside distinctly non-human entities in harmony. And she saw the threat that had forced them to hide. Massive predatory entities that consumed entire worlds, approaching the solar system. When the vision ended, Maya collapsed to her knees, gasping. "Maya." Wei rushed to her side. "What happened?" "We were wrong," she whispered, her voice shaking. "About everything. Human history, our origins, our purpose." She looked up at her colleagues, her eyes wide with the weight of what she had learned. "We're not the first human civilization on Earth. We're the backup plan." 3 months later, Maya stood before the United Nations Security Council, the crystal contained in a specially designed case beside her. Since the discovery, similar structures had been found in the Amazon rainforest, beneath the Antarctic ice, and within an unnamed mountain in Tibet. Each contained identical crystals, and each had reacted to specific individuals. People who, like Maya, shared a rare genetic marker found in less than 0.01% of the global population. The data contained in these artifacts has been independently verified by research teams from 15 nations, Maya explained to the Assembly of World Leaders. "The evidence is conclusive. Approximately 35,000 years ago, Earth was home to an advanced human civilization with technology far beyond our current capabilities." Murmurs rippled through the chamber. General Williams of the United States leaned forward. "And you expect us to believe these ancient humans just disappeared, leaving no trace except these convenient bunkers?" "They didn't disappear, General," Maya corrected. "They sacrificed themselves to ensure our survival." She nodded to her assistant, who activated a holographic display showing the solar system. According to the data, an entity they called the Devourer entered our solar system, a predatory cosmic force that consumes all advanced life and technology. The civilization knew they couldn't defeat it, so they implemented a desperate plan. The hologram shifted to show DNA strands reconfiguring themselves. They reverted their own genetics and technology, becoming what we would recognize as early humans. They buried their most advanced technology in these secure facilities around the world and programmed them to reactivate only when 2 conditions were met: the presence of humans with the activation genetic marker and the return of the Devourer. Secretary General O'Cuffer's expression was grave. "And you believe this? Devourer is returning." Maya nodded solemnly. "It's already here. The deep space observations from the past 6 months confirm it. The unusual radiation patterns at the edge of our solar system match exactly what was recorded in the ancient data. The timing of our discovery wasn't a coincidence. The bunkers activated because they detected the Devourer's approach." General Williams scoffed. "This is absurd. You're asking us to believe a fairy tale about ancient advanced humans and space monsters based on some technology we don't understand." "I understand your skepticism, General," Maya acknowledged. "But consider this. Every human who has interfaced with the crystals has experienced the same memories and received the same information, despite having no prior contact with each other. And each of us has begun to manifest abilities that cannot be explained by current science." To demonstrate, Maya extended her hand toward a glass of water on the table. The liquid rose from the glass, forming complex geometric patterns in the air before her. The chamber fell silent. "The ancient humans didn't just hide their technology," she continued as the water returned to the glass. "They hid their potential within our DNA. Those of us with the activation marker are beginning to access abilities that were dormant for millennia. We're remembering how to be what they were." "And how many of these special humans exist?" asked the Russian representative. "We've identified 144 individuals worldwide so far, with the number growing as more people come into contact with the artifacts. Each has unique abilities emerging, and each receives specific knowledge about the ancient defense systems." Secretary General Okafor stood. "Dr. Kepper, what exactly are you proposing?" Maya took a deep breath. "The ancient defense system requires activation at all 7 major facilities simultaneously. Each must be operated by humans with the proper genetic markers. Once activated, Earth will have a fighting chance against the Devourer." "And if we choose not to activate these systems?" the Chinese representative asked. The crystal beside Maya pulsed, projecting a vivid image above the assembly. Earth, its surface blackened and lifeless, orbiting the sun as an empty husk. "Then humanity falls," Maya said quietly, "just as our ancestors feared." As the Security Council deliberated, Maya stepped outside for a moment of quiet. Through the windows, she could see the night sky above New York City, stars twinkling innocently. Somewhere among them, an ancient enemy approached, one that had nearly consumed humanity once before. Her phone vibrated with an urgent message from Wei. "Activity detected at all sites. Systems powering up on their own." Maya looked up at the stars again, a chill running down her spine. The ancient defense system wasn't waiting for human bureaucracy to make a decision. The awakening had begun. Awakening the defenders. Dr. Wei Chen stood transfixed as the ancient facility beneath the Antarctic ice pulsed with increasing energy. Since their return from the Mariana Trench 3 months ago, he had been experiencing strange dreams, memories that weren't his own, yet felt intimately familiar. Now, as the facility's central chamber activated around him, those fragments were coalescing into something coherent. "Status report." He spoke into his comm unit, his breath forming clouds in the frigid air despite the environmental suits they all wore. "All systems coming online," reported Dr. Abrams, their technology specialist who had been studying the facility's control mechanisms. "Power levels rising across all 7 global sites. Whatever's happening, it's synchronized." We nodded, unsurprised. The knowledge unfolding in his mind told him exactly what was happening. "The Sentinel network is initializing," he said, the unfamiliar term coming naturally to his lips. "It's been dormant for millennia, conserving energy until needed." On the other side of the world, Maya Kapper stood in the control center of the United Nations' hastily assembled response team. Holographic displays showed real-time feeds from all 7 ancient facilities: Antarctica, Mariana Trench, Amazon, Tibet, Sahara, Australia's Uluru, and beneath Lake Baikal in Russia. At each location, humans with the activation genetic marker were experiencing the same awakening that Xi and Wei had undergone. "We're tracking massive energy spikes at all locations," reported the head of scientific operations, "and unusual atmospheric disturbances forming in the upper stratosphere. It's building the shield," Maya explained, the knowledge flowing through her with increasing clarity. "The first layer of defense against the Devourer." General Williams, who had been skeptical at the UN meeting, now stood beside her, his face grim. In the weeks since Maya's presentation, evidence of the approaching threat had become impossible to ignore. Astronomical observatories worldwide had detected an enormous mass decelerating as it entered the solar system, a mass that absorbed all light and radiation, leaving a void in space where stars should be visible. "How long do we have?" he asked. Maya checked the calculations being run on the quantum computers they had set up to interface with the ancient technology. 3 days until it reaches Earth's orbit, but our defenses won't be fully operational for 4. We need to accelerate the process." "How?" Maya turned to face him, her eyes glowing faintly with the same blue energy that emanated from the artifacts. "We need more awakened humans. The system was designed for thousands, but we've only identified 144. We can't just find people with rare genetic markers overnight. Dr. Kapper, "We don't need to find them," Maya replied. "We need to create them." Across the globe, the 144 identified humans with the activation gene had been gathered at the 7 ancient facilities. Each person experienced unique awakenings of abilities. Some developed telekinetic powers like Maya. Others manifested energy manipulation, enhanced intelligence, or biological manipulation abilities. All received fragments of the ancient knowledge, pieces of a puzzle that, when combined, revealed the true nature of humanity's past and the threat they now faced. In the Tibetan facility, Dr. Amara Singh discovered that her newfound ability to manipulate biological systems could be used to activate the dormant genes in others. Under careful supervision, she successfully awakened the potential in 12 volunteers without the natural genetic marker. "It works," Maya announced to the Emergency Council of World Leaders after receiving Amara's report. "We can artificially activate the gene sequence in compatible individuals. Not everyone is compatible. About 30% of the population has the baseline requirements. But it's enough to give us the numbers we need." "The side effects?" General Williams asked. Maya hesitated. "Significant. The process is painful, and about 15% of subjects experience temporary psychosis as their minds adjust to the influx of ancient memories. But every successful activation strengthens the defense network." Secretary General Okafor rubbed her temples. "You're asking us to approve experimental genetic modification on a global scale with known dangerous side effects, based on technology we barely understand. I'm asking you to give humanity a fighting chance," Maya countered. "The Devourer doesn't negotiate. It doesn't take prisoners. It consumes all advanced life and technology, leaving nothing behind. Our ancestors faced this choice 35,000 years ago and chose to revert to primitive existence rather than be destroyed. We don't have that luxury. There's nowhere left to hide." After hours of debate, a decision was reached. Participation would be voluntary, with priority given to military personnel and scientists already working on the project. Within 48 hours, over 10,000 individuals worldwide had undergone the activation process, each adding their strength to the defense network. Way, coordinating efforts from Antarctica, felt the network growing stronger with each new addition. Through the shared consciousness that was gradually forming among the awakened, he sensed Maya's concern about the approaching deadline. "We need more time," he told her during their daily communication. "The shield will only be at 70% capacity when the Devourer arrives." Maya's holographic image nodded gravely. "We're going to try something else. The Mariana facility contains what the ancient memories call the temporal disruptor. It can't stop the Devourer, but it might slow its approach." "That technology is dangerous, Maya. The memories warn that using it could create instabilities in local space-time." "Better than extinction," she replied grimly. 24 hours before the Devourer's projected arrival, Maya stood in the control chamber of the Mariana facility, surrounded by a team of the most powerful awakened humans they had identified. Together, they channeled their energy into the ancient temporal disruptor, a massive crystalline structure suspended above the ocean floor. "Power at maximum capacity," reported one of the technicians. "Targeting coordinates locked on the approaching entity." Maya nodded, feeling the combined consciousness of all awakened humans flowing through her. "Activate." A beam of concentrated energy shot upward from the ocean, penetrating water and atmosphere to strike the approaching void in space. For a moment, nothing seemed to happen. Then, the readings on their instruments changed. "It's working." Wei's voice came through the communication system. "The entity's approach has slowed by approximately 36 hours." A cheer went up from the control room, but Maya remained focused. "That gives us enough time to bring the shield to full power, but we still need a way to actually defeat this thing, not just hold it off." As if in response to her concern, the crystal at the center of the facility pulsed with new information. Detailed schematics for weapon systems hidden within each of the 7 facilities. Weapons designed specifically to target the Devourer's unique makeup. "Wei, "Are you seeing this?" Maya asked, knowing he would be receiving the same information through their connected consciousness. "Yes, it's incredible. Our ancestors built these facilities not just as shelters or information repositories, but as warships. Each one can detach from Earth and function as an independent battle platform." Maya's eyes widened as she absorbed this new knowledge. "We need to prepare all 7 facilities for launch, and we need pilots." The final hours before the Devourer's arrival were a flurry of activity as the most capable of the awakened humans were selected to pilot the 7 ancient vessels. Maya would command the Mariana ship, with Wei taking Antarctica. The other 5 would be led by those who had shown the strongest connections to their facilities. The global shield had reached 98% power, not perfect, but enough to protect Earth while the battle was fought in orbit. As the countdown reached 0, Maya addressed all awakened humans through their shared consciousness. "For 35,000 years, our ancestors slept within us, waiting for this moment. They sacrificed everything they were so that we might have a chance against an enemy they couldn't defeat. Today, we honor their sacrifice by finishing what they started. Today, we defend not just humanity, but all life on Earth." The 7 facilities began to rumble as ancient engines, dormant for millennia, roared to life. Massive sections of Earth, ocean, and ice fell away as the true forms of the vessels were revealed. Sleek, organic ships of a design utterly foreign to modern human aesthetics. In orbit, the Devourer had arrived, a vast darkness that blotted out the stars, not a solid entity, but a swarm of billions of smaller components working as one consuming intelligence. It began to probe Earth's newly formed shield, searching for weaknesses. Instead, it found the 7 defenders rising to meet it. "All vessels, weapons hot," Maya commanded, feeling the ancient ship respond to her thoughts as if it were an extension of her own body. "Coordinate your attacks according to the battle strategy. This ends today." The battle was unlike anything humanity had ever witnessed. The 7 ships moved in perfect synchronization, their weapons firing beams of energy that tore through the Devourer's mass. But the entity was adaptive, quickly learning to avoid their attacks and launching counteroffensives that tested the limits of the ancient technology. 3 hours into the battle, the Tibet vessel took a critical hit, its systems failing. Maya felt the pilot's consciousness flicker through their shared connection. "I'm not going to make it back," came the calm voice of Dr. Katsumi Tanaka, "but I can still contribute." With that final message, she directed her damaged vessel directly into the densest part of the Devourer's mass and overloaded its power core. The resulting explosion tore a massive hole in the entity, temporarily disrupting its collective intelligence. Maya seized the opportunity. "All vessels, full power to primary weapons. Target the disruption point." 6 beams converged on the weakness, their combined power driving deep into the Devourer's core. For a moment, nothing happened. Then, like a chain reaction, the entity began to collapse in on itself, its components turning against each other in confusion. "Keep firing," Maya commanded, even as her vessel's systems warned of imminent power failure. "Don't stop until it's gone." With a final, desperate surge of energy from the 6 remaining vessels, the Devourer's core imploded, creating a brief, brilliant flash of light visible across the solar system before collapsing into nothingness. Silence fell across the neural network connecting the awakened humans. Then, Wei's exhausted but triumphant voice. "We did it. It's gone." 1 year later, humanity was forever changed. The knowledge contained within the ancient facilities had revolutionized technology, medicine, and understanding of human potential. The awakened humans, now numbering in the hundreds of thousands, helped guide this transition while maintaining the defensive network, for the Devourer, they had learned, was not unique in the universe. Maya stood on the observation deck of the rebuilt Mariana facility, now a center for research and training. Beside her, Wei looked out at the underwater vista, schools of fish swimming peacefully past the transparent walls. "Do you ever wonder," he asked, what our ancestors would think of what we've become. Maya smiled, feeling the gentle hum of thousands of connected minds in her consciousness, not an intrusion, but a comfort. I think they'd be proud. They didn't just preserve humanity. They gave us the chance to become something greater than they were. We're not alone anymore, Wei observed, not just because of what we know about our past, but because of what we've become together. No, Maya agreed, watching as a newly constructed vessel, built with a combination of ancient and modern technology, prepared to depart on humanity's first intentional journey to the stars. We never really were. In the vastness of space, humanity, awakened, united and aware of both its ancient heritage and its boundless potential, took its first steps toward a future among the stars. Not as conquerors or consumers, but as defenders, carrying forward a legacy 35,000 years in the making. They had believed they were alone until they discovered the truth. They were the inheritors of an ancient civilization that had sacrificed everything to give them a chance, and they had not squandered it.